The Serie season might be over, but not the Calcio season. That never ends. Conference League final on Wednesday between Fiorentina and West Ham. Perfect time for Fiorentina guest Gabe. I think it's your third time on the show, and first time guest Matteo. Guys, how's it going?
Oh, great! Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. It's really good to be back in the show. Guys, this is a great podcast. So happy to be back. Thank you for the invitation.
We're happy to have you on.
Definitely, it's always nice to have you on.
Matteo, I want to ask you because we never had you on. I mean, what's your story with Fiorentina? You're telling us before you're from Florence. You're from the beautiful city of Firenze, my favorite city in Italy, by the way. I didn't tell you that, but tell us what your story is with Fiorentina and maybe some of your favorite memories of the club.
Sure. So I was born in Florence almost 40 years ago. And my dad transmitted this disease, let's call it, because, you cannot get rid of it. And, I started to watch Fiorentina on a very early age. I would say that the first great player that I remember is Roberto Baggio with the Viola shirt. Then I started going and have season tickets when I was very young in the Curva Fiesole. And I saw live when we had Batistuta, Rui Costa, Toldo. Then the desperation, the bankrupt, and we went to C2. I didn't give up. The disease was still there. So I went even to Rimini, Gualdo Tadino. I went everywhere. So I remember Rigano that was there. Then we went back up. I remember 1 year, one of my favorite players went to Fiorentina, which was Fabrizio Miccoli, and I really had fun. I think it was one of the best striker with a lot of technique. Then I was going in away games as well when Tony was there, which was a great season. I was in Turin when Osvaldo did the scissors kick that put us in Champions League. Was one of the best memories I have of Fiorentina, with the win that we did with Manchester United in Florence in 1999 in Champions League, 2-0, Batistuta and Balbo. Man, I never felt something like that at the stadium. It was like flying when we scored. So it was amazing. And then after Tony, there was Gilardino, and then there was me coming to Canada. So no more season tickets, following, and never give up.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just the hearing about Batigol, it's fantastic, because I also have, when I was much younger, but I have fond memories of Batigol as well when he helped Roma win the 2001 Scudetto. But I still need to find that iconic Fiorentina jersey with the Nintendo logo and Batistuta in the back as well. I need to find it on Classic Hits, because that's something that I feel like, as if just because of like not only the colors, but like the way it looks and everything. It's a fantastic jersey, and I think it's very iconic in terms of, especially during the 90s of Seriea, when all the teams were strong, and it just just the names that you listed was just a great encompassment. Like it said like a lot about what the league carried at the time, and like he's like beating teams like Manchester United, which was one of those super teams back in the day, 2-0, showing the capabilities of how Serie A could have just easily competed with a lot of these strong clubs. So it's really amazing. Those are really amazing stories. I honestly like it a lot.
When Serie A, when Serie A used to be what Premier League is today.
Yeah, exactly. Infatti.
About the Nintendo, that year I had the season ticket. It was so funny, Gianni, when there was the halftime, there was mascot of Mario and Luigi going around and say hi to the crowd.
That was so cool. I do remember that. I was a kid. I do remember that. Yeah.
It seems like something like you said. What year would that have been? Like early 90s?
It was 90s,
late like mid late 90s, I would say.
You could probably, what I was gonna say, you could probably find it on YouTube, but the people who remember it the most are the ones who were at the stadium.
I remember very well because I just bought a Nintendo 64. It was my first console, and Fiorentina gained the sponsor of Nintendo. So I was, oh my god, I just bought an N64, and Fiorentina get Nintendo. And I think I was like in in fourth grade in elementary, fourth grade in elementary school. So that was amazing, to be honest. Yeah.
Uh, um, so you did mention all the success in Europe. Obviously, Fiorentina does have that one Cup Winners' Cup in 1961. But obviously, we know Conference League Wednesday, as I mentioned, against West Ham, they could become the second Italian team in a row to win this tournament. And then obviously, they're looking for their second ever European trophy. Guys, just give us first of all, like, how excited for you to see Fiorentina in this position in the European final, and just maybe give us your predictions on the game. I don't know if who wants to go first, Matteo or Gabe.
I just
Matteo,
tell
go
you,
first.
I'll let Matteo speak, but I'll just tell you, because I think I speak for both Matteo and me, that we cannot really give a prediction on the result, because like it's very unlucky. You usually tend in Italy not to give predictions on the result. We can give you a consideration or a comment on what we think, but like no result prediction whatsoever. We are not superstitious. We are a little stitious, though. Like
Yeah.
quoting the office. Like
You don't need to give a prediction of the result. Just more like, what do you think how the game will play out? What do you think Fiorentina needs to do to win? Not necessarily prediction on the result, just your analysis.
Matteo is the expert here, because he's a very big fan of Mr. Italiano, of the coach. Who I like him too, but like Matteo is like his biggest sponsor. So I let him speak. Go, Matt.
Well, Nick, I want to tell you that you said how you feel. Well, I'm super anxious because if you think about it, everything is against us. You said we won the last European in 1961. We did a final 33 years ago. So basically, our average of being on a final, it's every 30 years. So, and lately we have not won any of the finals. So probably it's going to be the good time for us. I think that West Ham, it's probably, I hate to go percentage, but I want to say that 10% higher possibility than win to us, which they are in the Premier League. They have better team every week that they have to face. They have to face respect to Serie. I want to say that if Fiorentina wants to win, it has to do the same thing that it does every week. In Coppa Italia, in Serie A, and in Conference League. That we have to go there and express the type of game that we have expressed all year, which means we don't have to change our nature. We have to attack. We have to do a lot of like a web of different passing. We have to have a propositive game and very offensive. I know that West Ham, it's very good on counter-attacking. But I think that if we do what Mr. Italiano have teach the guys to do all year, thinking about this year, if we don't win this Conference League, yes, it's a negative year because we haven't won anything and we finish 8th place. But at the same time, we played almost 70 games, and we were at the end for all of them. So I'm proud of this team. I'm proud of our players, and I'm proud most of all of our coach, and I hope that he wins a cup because this team deserves it.
Go, Gabriele. Go.
And if I may add, just a little economical analysis. I like to be a little bit more. I try not to get myself into hoping. Like I try not to hope too much, because then like I will be very disappointed if we lose. So I try to give them the economical analysis, like West Ham in the last 5 years is in the top 10 European club that spent money, like the most, like I think is the 10th European club that spent the most money in the last 5 years. It's 524 millions. It's just under Man City, Juventus, Real Madrid, Barcelona, no, even Barcelona, like Bayern Munich. I don't remember the chart probably, but like West Ham was in this top 10 team that spent the most in the last 5 years. Fiorentina, the cost of our roster is not even half of the 524 million. I think our roster is like worth probably 120 million, the most. So all the odds are against us. Like if you think that a Premier League team that spent the money of Champions League team, because like not even Inter Milan spent the money that West Ham spent for their team. Probably like they spent it very badly, because this year they almost relegated, and they were definitely not good in the Premier League. But considering the type of players they have, like Paqueta, Antonio, Declan Rice, even the Italian player they bought, like Scamacca, they paid it 40 millions. He never played, he got injured, probably never acquainted to Premier League. But I think he's a great player too. Like he was my pick to substitute Vlahovic, like Gianluca Scamacca. So all the odds like are against us. But as Matteo mentioned, like first of all, a final is a final, so it's a single game. Everything can happen. Even a Serie C team sometimes can win against a Serie A team in a single game. So if we do what Coach Italiano taught this team, and I criticized this year Italiano for a lot of things, but what I always think about the coach, what I never criticized of him, is like the conviction of his integralism, like Guardiola. Like I'm not the biggest fan of Pep. What I like of these coaches, that they're very very attached to their type of games, like to attack, like Iron Man says in the Avengers, like I don't have a plan, I attack. Like so that's how that's a little bit more tactical in football, of course, but like I like this character on our coach, and how our players actually connected to it. So I mean, I'm hopeful, but at the same time, I don't want to hope too much, because then I'll be very sad. And just to finish the quotes, like if you guys ever watched Ted Lasso, you guys or our like viewers or listeners, like it's a famous show about football, like on Apple TV, like believe because football is life, like that's how it says. So I finished my analysis like this.
I want to ask you guys. I kind of said it after the Coppa Italia final. It was almost as if it was a practice for both Inter and Fiorentina, because they're each in a European final. Do you think losing that final kind of gives Fiorentina the extra motivation to go out and win this final and get this trophy?
I think no. I think that if the final of conference would have been after we lost, like immediately after we lost the Coppa Italia final, yes, you go there with a different spirit. We're probably going to be crushed and still think about the defeat. But I think that having the game with Sassuolo in the middle that we want very well, and it makes a difference, I think, in the locker room. If you go to a game with a win or with a lose, you can feel it in the locker room. So I think that we are in the good state of mind. One thing that I criticize that Coach Italiano said is that it's ridiculous that Fiorentina has to go against Sassuolo while the Premier League is already over for 5 days, and West Ham can prepare the final in Portugal without any problems. I think that Federcalcio needs to get their things together. Let's say things, but yeah, I think that's it. I want to say that West Ham has another player that I like, which is Bowen. But if you take the two rosters and you put them together, yes, they have Antonio, they have Scamacca, which is injured, but Paqueta, our roster, I don't think it's like, I think they're exactly the same roster. We have players that can make the difference anytime, like Nico Gonzalez, like Jovic, like Bonaventura. We have Milenkovic. I think that it's going to be a great game, and I think that since we played more European football than them, we deserve to win. But since soccer is not meritocracy, we're going to see what's going to happen. But for me, the style that we play, we deserve to win over someone that counterattacks,
Yeah.
Also, I see the British tabloids and magazines talking about like the like the huge rivalry. I would say the rivalry for this game between Declan Rice and Sofian Amrabat. And Sofian Amrabat is in the market probably right now in the transfer market for this summer towards either Barcelona or Man United, from what I'm reading, and he's worth like 40 million. While also Declan Rice is on the market and he should go to Arsenal for 120 million. Now, with all due respect, Declan Rice is a great player, but there's no difference between the two players are both good and both probably deserve to be sold around 40, 50, 60 millions, but 120 millions compared to 40, not even close. Like that's an overestimation of Declan Rice. Look what happened with pretty boy there. Well, what's his name? Like Jack Grealish, 116 millions for I don't know, like nothing. Like yeah, I mean he's a good player, but like he's a bench in mostly bench in Man United, and I think these I'm a little bit sick and tired of this overestimation of British players. Then they play in England, they seem phenomenal. Then they go to World Cup or European Cup and they get their butt kicked. So like I like that they put the odds all on them because I think they have the pressure to win, not us in this case. So that's bad and that's good at the same time.
And I think that's a great point that you make about the whole pressure thing, because you said it before, they're the 10th most in spending. No, sorry, it was the 5th most in spending, 10th
No,
most.
the 10th
Yeah,
in the last 5 years.
yes,
Yes.
exactly. And for them, this is something they've been like, okay, we're trying to cash in and buy the trophy when we can. Whereas Fiorentina, like it wasn't something that they purchased towards. They built up towards it, especially with Italiano ball, as we like to say, where he just has this. Oh, there's somebody with the ball in the midfield. He's got 3 people on him applying pressure right away. Watching it live was fantastic because you see it and it's like against Sivaspor, they just made them look like a bunch of like house league players, like as if they never played soccer before.
Yeah.
But speaking of Italiano himself, uh, do you think he is, because we were talking about the rosters before and about which team each team brings in terms of quality? Do you think the main X factor and difference maker for this game will be Italiano? Would be Vincenzo? Do you think? Do you
Well,
think he? Yeah, Matteo. Yeah.
Can I go? I'm gonna say something very quick. Then, Gabe, it's all yours. Italiano is not going to be the difference. Italiano has been the difference all year. So it answered itself. Italiano, it is the X factor of this Fiorentina. Without his lead and his tactical discipline, we were not being in the final of conference. Definitely.
Telling Matt, he's our coach Beard, right? Our coach Beard.
Even better.
Even better, yeah.
Sorry.
And
Gabriele.
well, like comparing Italiano to Moyes, of course, experience-wise, Moyes is like 10 Italiano, because I mean Moyes coached at high level for years. Like he was like the coach of Wonder Everton. It's a man that I actually have a good impression because in England I sympathize for Newcastle and Everton. So I definitely followed Moyes with the Wonder Everton, but I think that right now Moyes is a bit of an outdated coach, and I think Italiano can beat him quite easily in the tactic. Although my fear is that, like, because Italiano in the good and in the bad always plays the same, like attack. He cures more the offensive tactics than the defensive. So Moyes is it's a volpone, we say in Italian, like, so he's smart and he's experienced. So like he can be troublesome for us if Moyes studied us very well. Although British coaches, except for Sir Alex Ferguson, are always also famous for overrating their teams and their qualities, so they never studied their rivals. The only one that was doing was actually Sir Alex, but he was one of a kind, because if you remember the Owl Ogson, he always said like, oh, Italian players are not good enough, Italian teams are not good enough, and then he always got his ass kicked by Italian teams, even when he coached in Italy, Inter Milan. So if that's the history of English coach, then he will probably underrate us and will be, I wouldn't say fine, because then the players go in the field, but I think it would be an advantage for us. If he plays the card of experienced coach, then it will be a little bit harder. So coach wise, I'd say the Italiano has a bit of an advantage right now, but to a certain extent,
Guys, I want to ask. I know because there's been a lot of talk on Juve circles about Italiano potentially coming in the future. Do you guys think he's a coach for? Well, okay, I'm going to say it, a bigger club. No disrespect to Fiorentina. Do you guys think he's a Fiorentina long term, or do you think he'll want to make that move to maybe a potential, not necessarily just Juve, but maybe another potential Champions League team? Even there's a job opening at Napoli now.
I have my theory on this. I think that if he wins the cup, then he think that he did the most unbelievable thing, because we haven't won a trophy in 60 years. So like if he wins the cup, he'll definitely leave. He might leave even if we don't win, because he will think anyway, maybe we did the max with this roster. We reached 8th place, 7th last year, 8th this year, 2 finals. We were pretty consistent. Yeah, it wasn't the Fiorentina of Montella that we got for 3 times 4th place, but that was a different roster. That was a great team. This was a good team, but not a great team. So you might think this is the max I can do. So I think it's easier for him to go to Napoli, no disrespect to Juventus in this way, but like Juventus has a lot of things going on right now. Let's say a lot of doubts, a lot of dilemmas for the sportive director, what cup or what championship even play next year. Because I mean, yeah, they're still in Serie A. I don't think they will relegate them, because they received 10 points disqualification, and then for the second cause they had like some kind of like fine. But if they don't play the cups, then maybe Italiano, I think he would be very intrigued by Napoli, because Napoli is not necessarily that much historically, definitely not a bigger team than historicals. They just have three Scudettos. We have 2. They have like probably the same amount of Coppa Italia that we have. So historically, we are a similar level team. Actually, if you check the all-time chart of Italian Serie A, like we're actually above. We are the 5th team for history of points, just under Roma. So, but I think it would be easier for him, because like Spalletti has a propositive type of game. He has the propositive type of game. They don't play the same, but he would have the players to express his football at high level in Napoli right now. So if I see a move, I see it to Napoli, not to Juventus. Again, Juventus needs somebody to manage also the prima donnas that they have. So I think Juventus probably looks into Tuchel, and although Tuchel right now is in Bayern Munich, but like a little bit more of a bigger name, or somebody that knows the Juventus core. That's my theory. Matte? Sorry, guys. Yeah,
That's fair. Yeah.
Gabe was almost perfect.
almost.
I think the exact thing. I think that if Italiano wins the cup, the arc is complete. If we remember, 3 years ago, we were getting the to remain in Serie A 2 games prior to the end of the championship with Iachini. And then we have Italiano, and at his first year we got in Conference League, which was unimaginable. And then this year we were good for like the entire year, other than from the beginning. But with 70 games in our legs, I think it's normal to have that kind of ups and downs. So I think that if Italiano wins, I do the same kind of thoughts with my work. If I cannot give any more to where I am, I should change. I should not stay and then things go sour, because I cannot give more to where I work. I wish for him that he goes to Napoli. I think Juventus, yes, there's too many things not solved, and so many question marks. And I think that at Napoli, it's okay. De Laurentiis is quite a strict character, but he will probably say to him, listen, I'm not expecting to get another Scudetto because we're Napoli. We just got 3. I'm just asking, to probably, he will ask, my guess is that he will ask next year to be in the final of Champions League, for example. That is something that to have a chance to win the Champions League. And Spalletti and Italiano had the same kind of approach on the field. So I'll see him going there, and I'm okay with that. If you give us a trophy after 30 years, you can do whatever you want, and you will always be remembered here in Florence. If we can do a statue,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you win a trophy after how much 60 years probably, do what you want, leave, not because we don't want you anymore, but because it's what you did, it's unbelievable. We, unfortunately, probably with the history we have, we don't play for trophies. We play for we follow for, not for trophies as a supporters. We support for being competitive. That's what the the management hasn't done always, because trading Vlahovic in January, then Torreira. I've been very I criticize the management and the president sometimes, but I have to say this year I think he finally understood, because also the line with the not only the new the new sports center that they built in Florence, which will be one of the biggest in Europe. Also the line that they took with the youth team, with the Aquilani, promoting also young players from the Primavera team. So I mean, that's I think they finally understand what it means. It took them probably a little bit too long, but I think, and I want to hope, I don't want to hold my breath too much, but I think we're on the right path. Maybe, yeah, we still probably sell sometimes the strongest players, but even the previous presidencies were doing that. Even with Della Valle, we sold the strongest one. Maybe not always to Juventus, although it happened, but as long as you know what to do after that. The problem is not selling. The problem is not trading. The problem is purchasing a new good player that can solve the problem, the emptiness that you left. So probably Cabral and Jovic were not the right ones to substitute Vlahovic, but I want to be hopeful that if either winning or not winning Conference League, will be on a good start next year with the right players for the right coach.
And if I can add, if you don't mind, Nick, sorry, if I can add on what Gabe just said, I want to highlight that Fiorentina did this season and the last season and arrived to play 2 trophies with playing soccer. I am so grateful that for 2 years I can see good games, not boring games, getting excited for what I'm seeing on the pitch. And I think that that's the way to go. We're not a winning team, but through the game of soccer, playing the way that Italiano wants it, and the spectator have fun all the time, even if we lose. We did our best. I've never seen this year and last year any player leave anything on the pitch. They always give 100%. So for me, getting to that level with playing soccer and not with just an Allegri kind of play, and other people that don't play soccer, they wait and then they go. Us, we want to propose, and I love that, because Fiorentina is not a winning team. So
I think it means we don't play catenaccio. We play offensive football. I wouldn't say tiki taka, because tiki taka is obsolete, and not even Guardiola plays tiki taka anymore. But I know what it means, offensive and propositive football. Sorry guys, I can't say soccer because soccer doesn't exist. Football, football, we play with feet. American football, play with hands, so don't call it football. Sorry, Just a little
No,
bit of bitterness
no,
here.
it's okay. I mean, Calcio basically started in Firenze. If you basically,
Uh,
if you go through the history of the sport, it was thanks to Firenze that Calcio pretty much picked up in Italy. So,
yeah,
and it was through the ports there as well, if I'm not mistaken, that basically helped.
but
Uh,
then the British, they say that they invented the modern football, which is true anyway. So I mean, like,
yeah,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
invented
you
the
could
modern
you could make
football, but they still haven't mastered it, so it's
yeah,
okay.
right. I mean, like they invented it, but then there are like probably like 20 nations playing better than them. Like.
I mean, Chiellini played a type of calcio storico during the Euro final when he took down Saka with the jersey pull.
Yes,
But
yes, yes, yes.
I had a question in my mind. Oh yeah, so I know during the Conference League run, you kind of mentioned it. They play offensive football. There was a lot of games where they had to score a lot of goals. Do you guys think that in a in a one game final that is going to work out, or do you think that type of football is more for like how they got here over the course of two legs?
Uh, Finals are tight matches usually. I don't think finals are meant to be uh, full of goals. Like usually finals are like 1-0 2-1, like this kind of matches. So I think it will be unfortunately a close match, and I don't deny that sometimes I think that we might go to overtime or even penalties. To be honest, seeing what happened to Roma, although Roma doesn't play the same kind of football that we play, but again, finals are very tight matches. So I don't think it will be a game with a lot of goals. But again, that's just my opinion. I hope that is different actually.
I think, Nick, that if we play a different soccer in the final, I think it's impossible, first of all, with Italiano, that we play a different football that we have played the entire year. And I think that that's the way to go. That's what the team knows. That's what they've been done all year. It's like
Exactly.
if you I don't know, uh, if you all year you say to your daughter, don't go in the pool, 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 at the end of the year you throw her in the pool, I'm pretty sure she will have a problem. So let's keep with what we know, and that's, if that's the way to achieve the goal, good. But if at the end we go out losing with our head high, I am okay with that. I'm used to losing, unfortunately.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
Dai.
Matte,
I
but
don't
like
even know. I don't even know, to be honest, what I'm gonna do if we win. I am honest.
no,
I
honestly,
did.
I already.
Run to
I'm
Montreal.
guys. I'm gonna have Biragi tattooed on my back. Like the lift the cup. Honestly, like that's gonna be maybe not happen immediately because it's very expensive. But like that's something I might think of doing.
Eh, uh, Honestly, this is what I like about the Conference League. Okay, I know Roma won last year. They're not the smallest of teams. But again, it was their first European trophy. You guys won a Cup Winners' Cup. This is
Mhm.
opportunity for your second. West Ham also won a Cup Winners' Cup. So it's
Yeah,
an opportunity for teams who don't traditionally have
yeah.
these trophies. Gianni, maybe you want to tell them what it's like winning a
Oh,
Conference League.
yeah.
You have the
Also, yeah.
experience.
Can I make a comment of that? Like, all due
Go ahead,
respect to
Gab.
Roma, Roma is a team that I actually sympathize because I mean, it's I like the environment in Rome. Like, I have a lot of friends from Roma and a lot of supporters of Roma are friends of mine. But guys, no offense, but like against playing versus Feyenoord, no offense, is not the same of playing versus West Ham because like Feyenoord has a lower it's not an inexpensive roster, but definitely less expensive than Rome after spending 45 millions only for like the striker Tammy Abraham. But playing versus West Ham I'm not saying it's more difficult because Feyenoord put up a very good match, and next year they're in Champions League, for example. But I think it's a little bit more challenging. But all the respect to Rome, that like won the trophy and deserve to win. Like
At,
Johnny.
at the end of the day, you have to get there and you have to win. That's the thing.
yeah,
Doesn't matter who your opponent is. You just got to get there and you have to win. But
yeah,
honestly, just by discussing it and thinking about it, you said it perfectly, Matteo. Like, there's no point in changing strategy when you get to the final. Italiano's system was perfect enough to get there, and that's what brought them there. And I think I honestly have a lot of faith in that system. From watching the games, from seeing it live, from just the way he was with La Spezia, and like the way he's brought the mentality to Fiorentina, like I feel like it's going well with the team, and it suits it very well. And I have confidence in Fiorentina to actually do it. And I mean, it's pretty awesome because it's like Nick said, it's another European trophy that they added. That, yeah, sure, it's not okay, it's not Europa League, it's not Champions League, but it's still a trophy. At the end of the day, if you're an athlete, you're a professional sports player, you play for a championship, you play for a trophy of any sort. Yeah, and the opportunity presents itself for Fiorentina, they're going to go for it. And, it'd be pretty awesome that the first 2 years of this championship, it would be two Italian teams to win it. Two teams that are only 2.5 hours away apart by train. It would be, it'd speak wonders about just like the culture of calcio in Italy, and just how like everyone thinks that it's this league that's still frozen in the past. And
Mhm.
maybe the ownerships, maybe the owners, maybe the governing board, yes, but the players and the managers are not. The Italy right now has some of the best managers in the world. And there's a reason why that there's three there. Well, besides Mourinho, I mean, we could call him an honorary Italian at this point for how much he's managed in Italy. But right, there's a reason why there's three Italian teams in these European finals. They have like this fresh outlook and smart outlook on how it takes to win a championship. So,
Yeah.
um, I honestly think. I mean, I'm not trying to put the evil eye. I'm doing Corny underneath my legs right now. Like I'm making sure that like I'm not putting any bad voodoo, but I have full confidence in Fiorentina to do it. I
Uh,
think.
Io una grattatina per a little bit of
Gianni,
Yeah,
if I may add, Gabe was saying about the Roma conference last year. I want to say that, on my opinion, the conference last year had a weaker team than this year. However, Fiorentina got very, very lucky with draws. We always
yeah.
had basically the upper arm on the team until now on paper, and at the end we did as well. But I think that there were better team this year. There was Villarreal, there was Anderlecht, there was Genk, there was like a lot of teams that have.
AZ Alkmaar that beat Lazio, for example, like and gave a battle to West Ham. Like it wasn't that easy for West Ham to get to the final. AZ Alkmaar is a pretty good team. I have to say that Roma in semi-final got the Leicester. Yeah, this year Leicester got
yeah, they are.
relegated, but last year Leicester was still like a richer team than Roma. Like unfortunately, Premier League the
That's what it
spending is
is.
way higher. There's no comparison right now. Like it's way higher. Although Roma was able to beat them, Roma had a scare when they lost a couple of times versus Bodo Glimt.
Mhm.
But they were able. The most difficult team that we actually met that we faced was actually Braga, which
For me,
Sporting.
Twente was worse.
Well, yeah, but Braga was like Braga. Braga finished.
Before getting.
Braga finished third in Portugal this year, like just 2 points under Porto or Benfica, one of the two. Like I don't remember. So I mean, these guys were quite competitive in Portugal, and we gave them 4 goals at their stadium, like with not even the difficulty. So if Fiorentina wants to play, there's no problem. The problem that like when they lose concentration, like for example, we gave them 4 goals in Portugal, and then in Florence they scored twice, and we had to because we always like lose focus when we are winning too much. Even versus not Sivaspor, the Palek Poznan, we won 4-1 at their place, or 1-4 at their stadium, and then they scored 3 goals in our stadium, and we had to work overtime almost to we almost went to overtime. So like that's what Fiorentina doesn't have to do. Lose focus. Even with Inter, I think we lost focus when we immediately got advantage. We scored with Nico Gonzalez. So we need to be careful on keeping the focus on also on the defense, not only on the attack. Although attacking is the best skills we have. Yes.
It's funny. You say that because in the knockout round playoff, 7 goals against Braga. Next round, 5 goals against Sivaspor. Next round, 6 goals against Poznan. and then 4 goals against Basel. So you scored 7, 6, 5, and 4. So that means you're going to score 3 goals in the final. But
and we don't have a forward. Like, that's the thing. Like, we don't have like Scamacca. We don't have it. Like,
We don't have Vlahovic.
Are all team goals, like different Bonaventura, Barak, Biraghi. They're all different players scoring.
Sometimes Jovic and sometimes actually in Conference League, Jovic and Cabral scored a lot because they are like the top scorer. But again, we played teams like Riga or Sivaspor that are probably worse than Serie B teams. Actually, way worse. Riga is definitely a Italian Serie C team. Yeah, I mean, like if we had a real striker like Vlahovic was, I don't think this year we were playing the Conference League, in my opinion. You know, like, but that's just my humble opinion. I think Matt agrees with that, right?
Yeah, let's not talk about the past. The past is the
Yeah,
past. Let's
past
talk
is the
about
past,
the
yeah.
next final. But I want to say something as a 40-year-old, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So when I grew up with Coppa Campioni, Coppa UEFA, and Coppa delle Coppe, which is Champions League, Europa League, and Winners Cup.
Yeah.
The Winners Cup was, in my opinion, a very fun competition, and it was actually like it had these like it wasn't like a little cup. Who wins the Winners Cup was like a pretty prestigious thing.
Yeah.
I don't understand why now they put the conference and this is like a little cup. Like, I don't get it. For me, we should have gone with the Winners Cup again instead of the conference. But I understand that people that are not in the conference think that this is like the least of the cups. And I want to say to that those people is the least of the cups because you're not in and you're just envious. That's it.
Yeah, it's like Lazio fan that makes fun of a Roma fan. Like, yeah, they go to Champions League, they qualify Champions League this year, but you guys don't. Last year, you guys qualified both Europa League, and except Roma has a trophy and Lazio doesn't. And it's but that's the small cup. Nobody gives a hell of that. Like, but they still have a trophy. You guys don't. So I mean, like, I'd rather be the one celebrating the trophy than the one not celebrating the trophy. You know, like.
Exactly.
And the Cup Winners' Cup, that was like the domestic cup title, so like Coppa Italia, FA Cup. It was
FA Cup,
those teams that won it qualified for that tournament, right?
Yes, which I think it's cool because you can find some teams that even with the FA Cup, you can have like teams that are like even in championship sometimes.
Yeah.
No, even lower, like Leyton Orient in the third category, like plays in like FA Cup or a Carabao Cup, you know.
Yeah. So I think it was a fun competition. I don't understand why they got rid of it.
I do remember Coppa delle Coppe.
Usually it's money.
I do remember like Winners Cup. I actually went to Barcelona. My parents and I were in Barcelona when we played semi-final versus Ronaldo's Barcelona. Like Ronaldo's the real Ronaldo. You know, like that was a game. Batistuta versus Ronaldo. That was a game, guys. That was a freaking game. With the Barcelona that had Ivan de la Peña, Pep Guardiola. That was a team.
Nice. Gabe, I know you said you did have to go. It is 9 o'clock.
Yeah, guys. So sorry, but it was really a pleasure to be with you at this time.
Yeah.
Like it's a great show. It's great. It's great talking about football, not only with Italian fan, but we Canadian. So I mean, like it's always a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Exactly. We're happy to have you on. I don't know if Matteo, you want to stay on. I don't know if there was other things you wanted to talk about, Gianni. I don't know if.
It was mostly just more about like what is like I know we're looking at this game coming up, but it was just my final question was where does Fiorentina go from after that? What do you guys think Fiorentina does next year? You know, they unfortunately their only hope is to win this championship to get into the Europa League. What do you think they're gonna, because they finished at 8th, unfortunately. Freaking Juventus. Like, what do you think?
Okay, I'm sorry for Nick because Nick supports Juventus, but if UEFA do their job, what they say, I don't believe, because UEFA is still like a very shady organization. But if they do what they say, Juventus doesn't play cups for next year, and then the 8th get promoted to 7.
Yeah.
Now I'd rather win. I'd rather Juventus playing conference and Fiorentina winning the cup and playing Europa
Yeah.
League next year. But if we really need second-hand prize, let's say, I mean, I would play again a conference, although we might not be able to reach the final next year because there will be more difficult team next year even than this year. But if the president maintain the promise, because he said like he wants to invest even more in Fiorentina, so now we might have we got some money from the cups from the finals this year, so and we might sell one good player like Amrabat or Nico Gonzalez. If you spend the money well, I'm all good with trading players. Like Moneyball was a movie about baseball, but that works also for football. Like if you spend the money that you gain from good players, you can do a good team. Look, like Napoli, and then this is my last thing, guys. Napoli won a Scudetto, and they traded and they sold Koulibaly to Chelsea. They got rid of Insigne that plays here in Canada, and they got rid of Mertens. They got rid of the other Spanish player that went to play for PSG. What's his name?
Callejon?
No,
Ruiz.
Oh,
Ruiz.
Fabian Ruiz. Okay, yeah.
Fabian Ruiz. I mean, like those are big names, and Napoli always got in the Champions League by even selling their best pieces. Like they sold Cavani, they got to Champions League. They got Higuain, then they sold Higuain. They still got to Champions League. So only 1 year they got under us when the last year of Rafa Benitez, Fiorentina got fourth and Napoli fifth. But then Napoli's always been in the Champions League pretty much. So the problem is not selling. The problem is how you use the money. So if the president understood his mistakes, or anyway, like he got better knowledge, him and the management of how good football, sustainable football works, then we're probably gonna. It doesn't matter if you're in Europe or not next year, but we're gonna fight for a European place next year too, probably like the Europa League. If they don't learn from their mistake, then we're doomed again. Not doomed like we're not gonna relegate, but we're gonna have an anonymous championship.
You know what's funny, guys? Me and Gabe usually on his channel we never agree, but
No.
his channel it's like already 2 times that I'm saying that Gabe is right, so it's dangerous. So I want to say that he's completely right. I want to say that where we go from here, well, I think that winning a Europa trophy will make a difference. Will make a difference for the appeal that next year we'll have Fiorentina with players that want to change their jersey and go somewhere else. If we win and we go to European football again, like in Europa League, a lot of players say, "Oh, Fiorentina," they will repeat their name. We won, so they're like, Fiorentina won, so yeah, I could go to that club. And I really hope that winning something will really ignite the spark in our president. That for the moment he has shown that he's a businessman, but on my opinion, he has not shown the passion yet, which a lot of different presidents of Fiorentina had before him. So if that was good business, and going around Europe and beating everybody was nice, and he wants to invest more, and said, it was fun, I want to do it again, and maybe I want to do it even better. So I hope that ignites something in him. And, if we lose, because there's, 2 options, I think that if Italiano stays, maybe we can try again to go for Europa League or Conference next year. Or if Italiano goes, I am okay with Aquilani, which is our Primavera coach. I think he does a football that is very close to Italiano. Maybe less integralist, less Zeman-like than Italiano.
Less offensive, a little bit more defensive, but not defensive like Catenaccio, but definitely like he cures a little bit more the aspect of defense.
Alberto Aquilani coaches a Primavera for Fiorentina.
Yeah.
I learned something new today. I had no idea. Oh, he used to be one of my favorites when I was younger.
He won, I don't know how many Coppa Italia of Primavera. He's a winning coach in Primavera. He won, I think, 5. in the last 7 years.
Yeah, he's like the next big name, huh? For
Meno male.
coaching. I mean, we'll see if he gets his promotion.
So he has
He
an
wasn't.
aesthetic football like the Zerbi, like this kind of manager. So I would like to have him on board and a new project.
He didn't win the World Cup, huh? In 06. No, he wasn't on the team.
No, he wasn't on the
No,
roster.
he wasn't on the team.
No, he was just a little too young at the time. I think it was like 2021 around that time.
And at the same time, Gianni, who knows if he was injured because he was very prone.
Yeah.
Right?
But he used
So-
to score these goals, these screamers from far
Guys,
away.
Aquilani in Fiorentina played probably in the best midfield that Fiorentina has seen in like 30 years. Like the midfield was like the midfield was like Pizarro as a playmaker, and then as two midfielders around him were like Aquilani and Borca Valero. I had never seen for Fiorentina a midfield that was better than that. Like you don't get easily in the first 4 place in Italy. We got fourth for 3 times. Too bad we didn't. Only 3 teams went to Champions League those years, because that would have been huge success. And regarding the president, like
of course, it's us. You know what I mean? That
I mean, like I think that Commisso has a lot of passions. Like I think De La Valle showed a lot less passions, but they were really good in scouting because they hired the right people. Commisso has passion because but he also sees like why in Italy, and again, Nick, no offense, but why in Italy if you break the rules you only get a fine, or just like if like Fiorentina go bankrupt for only what today is like 20 million euros, like there's Inter Milan as like huge, like 100 million, over 100 million debt, like more than Juventus actually. AC Milan came back slowly from huge debt, nothing. The last 2 teams that got the politics or bankrupt were Fiorentina and Napoli. After that, all the other teams got saved. Like Lazio was saved, and they're able to pay in installments like over 40 years. Like what the hell? I mean, like, so that's why Commisso see the history, see how there are some teams that are advantaged by politics and some teams that are not. You know what? I disagree, because I should always show passion, but at the same time, if money were mine, I would be a little bit like scared as well of spending for something that is not worth to spend on, you know, like. So I criticize sometimes Rocco, but I think overall, again, after working on some mistakes they made, I think we have a good present overall, like.
Yeah, and it is funny you did mention the 4th place. That was, I forget what season would that have been? About 7, 8 years ago, when Fiorentina went pretty far in Europa League too, huh?
When we got, what was like 24? That was 20. That was the year I moved to Castle, was 2012, 2013, then 2013, 2014, and 2014, 2015.
It's when we had Salah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No,
Salah,
I think Salah was the year. No, yeah, you're right. It was Salah there.
The UEFA, right? At Juventus, we won.
So even there, we were selling the strongest player, because like we sold to Chelsea Quadrado, and we got Salah. So it's not about selling the strongest player. Like you can sell your strongest players as long as you substitute with a good player. We not an instant team, like a player that you can work on for many years. Now, unfortunately, with Salah, it didn't work out because despite Matteo said they had a lot of passions, they also made a lot of mistakes as well in the management. You know, like, so Salah was a big mistake. Not signing for more than 6 months. Our manager thought we signed it for more than 6 months, but they made a mistake on the the little lines that nobody reads, I guess. You know, like, so. So Fiorentina in both ownerships always has to be a little bit more careful on what they do and do better scouting, you know.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, unless there's anything else you want to talk about Fiorentina, I don't want to let you guys I don't want to hold on to you guys too long. I know you've been here for about an hour. We had some technical difficulties. You had to wait a while. But is there anything else you guys want to bring up with Fiorentina?
Forza Viola, sempre.
I agree with Gabe
and
again.
A third time.
again, look, you come on the Calcio Guys. This is what our show's about. It's harmony. It's us three, the co-hosts. We each support different teams. We have harmony. You guys disagree with each other normally. You come on. There's harmony. This is what the show is about.
And you guys also hosted a friend of us as well, like Fabrizio, Genoa supporter. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We have to have him on because Genoa is coming back to Serie.
Yeah, he's coming back for how long? Maybe another year, then relegated. if he listens to that, like he's gonna swear at me. You know, like, I'm joking. I'm happy for Genoa. I'm happy for Genoa a lot. Yes.
Last time they came up, they stayed 15 years, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, and they had a great player like Diego Milito, one of my favorite players. You know, like.
Yeah, and I just want to ask you guys where. So you do the YouTube channel, the podcast. Where can everyone find you guys on social media?
I have like my YouTube channel Il Viola Canadese and my Instagram Gabe_corner_podcast. But again, I'm not as active as I used to be during the pandemic because after pandemic finished, I started to travel and do outdoors activity a lot more. But sometimes I still post. And Matteo is my is not only a friend of mine, just a great friend, but also he collaborates with me in the channel sometimes. And also our friend Nick from a page Contro Pressing is a Roma supporter, but he's a good friend of ours. So
But he's a good friend.
No, I'm joking. and he's a good friend of ours. Sorry, and.
I am the channel of Gabe because I try to be off the radar as much as possible. So, but yeah, about Fiorentina, Forza Viola. Let's give our heart and soul on Wednesday. I am scared shitless, but we're going to go through this again. A win or a lose, it's fine. The love for Fiorentina remains. Actually, if we lose, even more unite and Forza Viola.
You guys know what's one of the one thing that you see a lot in our Curva Fiesole, like it's a sign that says like one of the most famous signs, like ti amerei anche se vincessi. I would love you even if you win it. I would love you even if you win. So that's how we reason. Like we love him more when he loses than when he wins.
Let me see if I can find that here on one of my videos, actually.
But for us, follow us, Calcio Guys, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube channel. You could listen to us on all your favorite podcasting platforms, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. Ragazzi, grazie mille. It was an absolute pleasure. We always we don't do it too much, but it's always nice to have two guests on. You didn't have too many conflicting opinions, but that's a good thing. Good luck to Fiorentina on Wednesday. I hope this is the only Italian team to bring home a European title because I definitely don't want Inter to win the Champions League. And we can't lose two finals to English teams. So make it
I'm
one
still gonna be very. I'm gonna another grattatina. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for having us. And like next time on the Viola, we are gonna have the Calcio Guys on Viola Canadese. Gonna have a live stream of half in Italian and half in English. Who wants to understand? Who doesn't want will know. Whatever. Like it's gonna be fun and we're gonna see how it works. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
And anyways, thanks for listening.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.